Hi, I'm Pastor Dave with Declaration Church, and today I've been thinking about just cleanliness and clean and the idea of being clean. And part of the reason I've been thinking about that is because I noticed that after the storm that we had here where I live, and things have started to melt and it kind of got slushy and gross, that the passenger side the passenger side windows on my car are not exactly clean. You've got streaks of watery residue left on the windows, and I need to clean those off so I can see. But it really got me thinking about how important it is for us to be clean. And I'm not talking about just good hygiene, although that is very important. I'm talking about being clean in a spiritual way, being spiritually pure, having a clean heart. And as I think about those ideas, I can think of a number of people that I've met in my life, but I'm going to use a fictional example, who look great on the outside. They look amazing. Okay, and in public, they seem to do everything right. But then if we actually dig deeper and we get to see who they really are behind the scenes, who they are when the cameras aren't rolling, we see something totally different. And so we know of people who look beautiful, who look absolutely clean and wonderful, who really aren't in the end. Because on the inside, they're not all that clean. They got all kinds of issues. And I think of, in this particular case, Snow White's mom in the cartoon Snow White, Disney's Snow White, and how she really worked so hard to look good on the outside. And she worked really hard to make herself beautiful and to look clean and pure and righteous and just upright and good. And then in the end, what we discover is she is on the inside just a dirty, nasty, evil, cruel, mean, vengeful person who is willing to do anything she has to do to maintain her outward appearance and to be the best on the outside. And I think our society here in the United States really lends itself to that kind of thinking, that kind of life, that kind of living, because we are constantly bombarded through social media and actual media in the form of internet and magazines and newspapers and pictures, and then with all of the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all of the various forms of social media, we are bombarded with everyone else's lives and the way that they are portraying themselves. And what we see is a lot of times a very carefully manicured persona in the public eye. But we don't get to see the real people. We don't get to see who they really are. And so it's really easy to work really hard at making the outside look really good while the inside is not right and it's not good. And it just reminds me of a couple passages of scripture. One being Psalm 51:10, which is written by King David. But the other is actually from Jesus, as he is calling to account some of the religious leaders and teachers of the day, as he's walking around and interacting with people, as he's dealing with people. He finds himself in a gathering of Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes and people who are religious leaders and teachers at his time. And he starts to outline all of the issues that they have. And he's revealing to them all of the problems that they've been trying to hide. And in verse 25 of Matthew chapter 23, so Matthew 23, verses 25 and 26, we read this. It's a quote from Jesus. And he says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites." Now, all of us hate that word. We hate the word hypocrite. We don't want to be hypocrites, even though a lot of us, if not all of us, to some degree, fit the description. We hate the word. For you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. So we know he's not talking about actual dishes, right? Because who's putting greed and self-indulgence in their cup, right? You can't drink greed and self-indulgence. So what we're talking about is actually human vessels, ourselves. We're talking about people. And he says, you clean the outside. You make the outside look really good. But on the inside, you're full of greed and self-indulgence. You are so self-focused. You are so selfish that you are rotting on the inside. He says, you blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, and the outside also may be clean. And if you think about it, honestly, if you think about dishes and you're going to wash a cup, if I pour milk into a cup and I drink it and then I set it aside and then I just wash the outside of the cup and I stick it back in without touching the inside, I stick it back in the cabinet, it's not going to take very long for that milk residue to turn rancid and be gross. And do you want to just use that cup after I've just wiped off the outside and put it back in? It looks great sitting on the shelf. It's nice and clean. There's no stain on the outside. Everything looks good. But on the inside, it's gross. It's nasty. It's got bacteria and leftover milk and it's rotting and it's gross and it's crusty. Do you want to use that glass like that? Of course you don't. Who would want to? Nobody. But if I wash the inside, if I actually stick it in the dishwasher or I actually stick it in a sink of soapy water and I just wash the inside, the outside looks better anyway. And what Jesus is saying here is if we purify and cleanse the inside of our persons, if we cleanse and purify who we are, the outside appearance is going to improve as well. And here's the reality check. It's Psalm 51:10. David writes, create. And this word create really carries with it the weight and the meaning of creating something out of nothing, creating something from something that wasn't there before, something brand new. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. You see what David realizes, and this is after he's been confronted about some of his own sin. What David realizes is that he can't actually cleanse and purify his heart on his own. He needs God to do it for him. And you and I are in the same boat. We can do all kinds of self-help stuff, and we can really try to work on the best habits, and we can really try to do the best things possible. But in the end, we cannot create in ourselves a clean heart. We need God to do that for us, and that is why Jesus came. We need Jesus to come and create in us a clean heart. And so if you're already following Jesus, you're watching this video as a disciple of Jesus, then seek God and just ask him to continue that purification process this year. As we enter 2023 and we close out 2022, focus on allowing God to cleanse the inside and give you that clean heart. I'm going to challenge you with that. Evaluate where you are and seek God to move you forward. And if you've never entered into a discipleship relationship with Jesus, if you've never chosen to surrender your life to follow him, then I encourage you to do that today. Because no matter how good things look on the outside, if you really get introspective and look at yourself, are there issues and things in your inside in your life that other people don't see that you know you need to get fixed? Because Jesus can help you with those things. He's helped me with those kinds of things and continues to do so. And I know he can help you too. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your discipleship journey, whether you're starting it or somewhere down the line, farther on in your maturing process. Thanks for letting me be a part of that discipleship journey. I really appreciate that. And I hope that you'll like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you and I can continue to do so. Thank you again for letting me be a part of that today. God bless you. Have a happy new year. And as always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.